What is up, Bradford Bass family? Welcome to Bass Babble. This is a series where I talk anything and everything bass fishing, and I talk about it from anywhere and everywhere. Today, guys, I'm sitting in my garage in my boat. Sometimes you might see me out on the water. Sometimes I might be in my vehicle sitting in a Walmart parking lot. The objective of this series, guys, is to talk bass fishing in general. It could be specific techniques. It could be lures, it could be equipment, it could be what's going on in the professional bass industry, it could be fishing content creators, it could be anything related to bass fishing. That was my whole purpose of coming up with this series. I wanted to do something that was low production, which that's what this is. I'm sitting here talking to you through my cell phone. There's not going to be no edits, no cuts. It's just me babbling on. And that's where I got the title, Bass Babble. So that's kind of what it is. If you're new to the channel and this is something that might intrigue you, if you're somebody that loves bass fishing as much as I do, and a lot of the Bradford Bass family members do, hit that subscribe button, man. I think this will really help bring people together in the bass fishing community, and that's what the main objective of this is. And you'll be seeing a lot of these videos coming here in the coming weeks. So that's that. Now let's get into today's topic. And today's topic, guys, is will the Bassmaster Opens eventually eliminate the co-angler altogether in the near future? And I must say this first. I've never fished with a co-angler. So I'm only speaking from the outside looking in when it comes to this subject. If you're watching this video and you have fished in a Bassmaster Open as a co-angler or even as a boater, please feel free to leave a comment. Let me know your thoughts. I'm just speaking on opinion, like I said, from the outside looking in. So will Bassmaster eliminate the co-angler from the Opens? Let me tell you what brought this idea up. I was watching Ben Milliken's, I think it's his last video he posted, I believe. And it was on the Harris chain as he's trying to qualify for the Bassmaster Elite Series. And he made a run up to Apopka. And he is clearly using forward-facing sonar, obviously, which I have no issues with. You guys know where I stand on that. I care less if you use it or if you don't use it. But he's using forward-facing sonar, and I believe he is facing a isolated brush pile. I could be wrong, but I believe that's what he's doing. And I noticed in the video, he catches a fish off this brush pile. And he's got his boat, obviously the nose of his boat facing towards this brush pile. He catches a bass off of it, he reels it in. As he's messing with getting the fish off, etc., his boat starts to turn in the wind. And as it turns in the wind, his co-angler in the back is now facing this submerged brush pile or the submerged cover, whatever it is that he's fishing. And Ben asked him kindly, hey, please do not cast out in that direction. Please, if you would not cast out in that direction, I would appreciate it. Which I have no issues with what Ben asked. This is not a knock on Ben Milliken. This just gave me the thought, like, man, like, with forward-facing sonar becoming so prevalent in the bass fishing world now, is it becoming to the point where co-anglers cannot even thrive in the Bassmaster Opens? Because think about this, you know, there's always been offshore guys, right? There always has been, even before forward-facing sonar. But I promise you it's a lot more prevalent now than it was even 3-4 years ago. So as a co-angler, there's probably a good odds that you're always going to at least get a boat draw to where you're fishing with somebody that's going down a bank or whatever it may be. But with forward-facing sonar, man, I don't know how often that actually happens now. And my question is what is the benefit for a co-angler to fish in these tournaments anymore? You know, and I'm being sincere about that. I want to know, what is the benefit? Like, what do you get out of signing up for one of these events as a co-angler? Of course, I know there's the $17,000 prize. I understand that. And technically, it is probably still a level playing field to a degree because everybody has, it's a random draw, right? That's how it works. You pay your $400 entry as a co-angler. There's a random draw of who you get matched up with when it comes to the boater side. But it just seems like a big risk to me. It really does. The way I look at the co-angler thing, because it's something I've tossed around the idea of doing a few times, is if I'm going to pay $400 just to enter a tournament, not to mention you're paying your boater $50 to $100 for gas per day and you're fishing 2 days, so that's $500 to $600 right there that you have invested in this. Not to mention travel costs, whether you're flying, whether you're driving, when it comes to fuel, food prices. I mean, you could be around $1,000 or more wrapped into this one event as a co-angler. And if I'm going to enter this event, I want to win it. Okay, that's me personally. Now, I know someone like Randy Blockett, who think whatever you want of the guy. You know, I'm not the biggest fan of the guy. I kind of think he's a little bit of a, I think he's a little bit of a shit stirrer. But one take he has is he believes, and I've heard him say this multiple times, is he thinks the co-angler should be there more so just to learn from the pro. And to me, that's just stupid. It's one of the dumbest ass things I've ever heard, to be honest with you, because I'm not there. Yeah, it'd be cool to learn, but at the same time, that's what maybe that would work 15 years ago before social media is where it's at now. But there's so much information out there now. It's not like you're getting certain professional advice from these guys, okay? Yeah, you might see how they approach a shoreline or approach their electronics and how they do it a little bit differently than somebody else may do it. But how much are you truly learning from this guy? So I don't agree with Randy Blockett's take on that. Like, you should just be there to just learn. Like, no, I'm not paying $400 to $1,000, whatever it is, to just go be a student of some random guy. You know, of course, there's guys in the opens, former MLF pros, Bassmaster Elite Series pros. There are those guys. If you get out there and you get in a boat with somebody like Ish Monroe, you know, that would be an experience. Okay, if you get in a boat with somebody like Ben Milliken, that'd be cool, right? Because, you know, he's a very prominent figure in the bass fishing world. But a vast majority of those guys are just guys, just dudes. You know, they're not anybody, honestly. Not saying they're not hammers, but to me, if I was going to go pay to learn, I would just go pay to be a marshal in the Bassmaster Elite Series, right? Then you're in the boat with the best guys in the world. And you're just sitting there and you're learning. Or I'd take that money, that $400 or whatever it is, that expense to enter one of those tournaments, I'd take it to go pay a guide if I wanted to learn something on a certain body of water. So I guess I'm kind of babbling around here, but I don't understand the purpose or the point of being a co-angler anymore in the Bassmaster Opens. I really don't. I feel like it's going away. That's how I truly feel. I was listening to, I think it was Andrew Upshaw's show he does with Todd Castleton and them, and I think they had Hank Weldon on, and they were talking about that the co-anglers in this past year in the Opens was at an all-time low, which I believe it. And I believe it's just going to continue to go downhill from there. Now, he was talking about some changes possibly coming in 2025 to benefit the co-angler. I don't know what those changes could be. I really don't. And if you have an idea, hey, let me know in the comment section. You know, but in my opinion, the co-angler is non-existent anymore. And at least at that level. And I believe that Bass is going to either have to do a dramatic change in the format when it comes to the co-anglers and the opens, or they're going to have to do something completely different if they still want to go down that route of a non-boater. So it's a real interesting topic. And forward-facing sonar, I truly believe, is driving this. Because there's certain circumstances, like I was talking to my buddy Josh from Ohio Bass Guru about, if you're out on Lake St. Clair and the boater, the pro is using forward-facing sonar, it's probably not going to affect you that much because a lot of that's like grass flats and stuff like that. I mean, it's 360-degree fishing. It wouldn't affect a co-angler as much in that situation. But when a guy is targeting either isolated cover out in the middle of nowhere on forward-facing sonar, or even scanning for just fish roaming in the open water on forward-facing sonar out in the middle of nothing, that would be a terrible experience as a co-angler. So why would you waste your money to get into something like that? And like I said, guys, this is just a topic of discussion. I'm trying to find out and hear from people that are more involved in this to figure out what drives them to continue entering these Bassmaster Opens as co-anglers. Now, as a boater, which I'm not a boater either, I'm sure the boaters would love for the co-angler to be eliminated. Not saying that there's a bad experience with a co-angler. I'm sure there's some here or there. But, like, there's no benefit I can see for the boater having a co-angler, right? If anything, it's just more stress on them because they got to try to basically cock block them from their fish. So, as a boater, if I was a boater, I would have no problem with them eliminating the co-angler altogether. And I truly do believe that's the route we are headed. But maybe I'm wrong. But I just know for me personally, as someone that loves bass fishing, it just doesn't seem to me like an option to enter one of these tournaments as a co-angler. You know, it's something I thought about, like I said. And for years, you know, there's certain rules, right? There's these unwritten rules, right, of being a co-angler. You don't want to cast over your boater. You don't want to be an inconvenience to them. You want to make sure you give them money for gas, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. All those things are warranted. But I felt like for years, even with those rules, you can still find a way to catch fish. Because if a guy's going down a shoreline, I promise you, if you're going down a shoreline right now, I could drag something out the back of the boat and catch bass that you missed. I promise you I can. But if you're out fishing in the middle of the ocean, scanning for just roaming fish out there, I don't think I could catch one then. I don't know, man. It's an interesting topic. It's interesting to see where this whole thing goes in the coming years. Because like I said, I strongly believe that we're heading in the direction where the co-angler will be eliminated from the Bassmaster Opens. And I'd be curious to hear your guys' thoughts on it and your guys' opinions on it. So leave it down in the comment section and let me know. What do you think? Do you think the Bass will eliminate it? Or do you think they'll come up with a way to make it more enticing for the co-angler? Because maybe there is a lot of money involved in the co-angler for bass. So maybe it's not something they're going to eliminate because maybe there's a lot of financial gain for bass by having the co-angler in there. I don't know. Like I said, I don't know. I'm neutral on all this, guys. I'm just throwing stuff out there and just kind of giving you my opinion on things. So that's all I got for this one, guys. Stay tuned for the next episode, which will probably be coming within the next day or two. So everybody stay safe out there, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace.